If you're over 65 and still buying extended warranties, you're throwing money away. And that's just the beginning. There are 4 other things that every broke retiree buys religiously, while every wealthy retiree runs the other direction. I learned this the hard way after losing $3,400 in 6 months on stuff that sounded smart but kept me poor. My name is Harold Ashford. I'm 74 years old and I retired at 65 with $11,247 in my checking account. Everyone said I was finished. My kids, my brother, even the guy at the bank who'd known me for 20 years. They were wrong. By the time I turned 70, I had crossed the $1 million mark. Not because I started making more money, but because I stopped buying the 5 things that drain every retiree's bank account. Here's what happened. March of 2017, 3 months after I retired, with basically nothing, I was at Best Buy trying to stretch my Social Security check. I needed a new microwave because my old one finally died after 15 years. Found a decent one for $89. Then the kid behind the counter hit me with the pitch. Would you like our extended warranty for just $24? It covers everything for 3 years. I said yes. Of course I said yes. When you're broke and scared, you buy insurance on everything. 2 weeks later, I'm at the Toyota dealership because my 2004 Camry was making a noise. The mechanic tells me it needs $1,200 in repairs. Honestly, sir, he says, at your age, you should probably just get something new, something reliable. We've got great senior financing. Next thing I know, I'm signing papers for a brand new Corolla. $23,000 with the warranty and gap insurance they convinced me I needed. That same month, I went to my doctor for a routine checkup. Blood pressure was a little high, nothing serious. But he mentions this new vitamin regimen that's supposed to help with heart health and energy. Special formula, pharmaceutical grade, $67 a month. At your age, Harold, prevention is everything, he tells me. So I bought it, along with the joint supplement the pharmacist recommended. Another $43 a month. Then my neighbor Bill calls me up all excited. He'd been to this presentation at the Holiday Inn about a timeshare in Branson, Missouri. Harold, it's perfect for guys like us. Only costs $8,000 down, and we get a free week every year for the rest of our lives. Think about it. Guaranteed vacations. The sales guy was smooth. Showed us pictures of happy seniors playing golf, fishing, sitting by pools. Made it sound like the key to a perfect retirement. And finally, my insurance agent calls. Says I need more life insurance because my current policy isn't enough to cover final expenses and leave something for my kids. At 65, this is your last chance to get coverage before it gets really expensive, he tells me. Another $247 a month for a policy that would pay out $100,000. Before I share what all this cost me, I want you to do something. Write in the comments right now, I protect my money like my life depends on it. Not tomorrow, not after the video, right now. Because what I'm about to tell you only makes sense if you understand that every dollar you waste is a dollar that can't work for you. In 6 months, these 5 purchases cost me $3,400 up front and locked me into $387 in monthly payments. That's $4,644 a year. When your total Social Security is $1,847 a month, that's a disaster. But here's the thing. I thought I was being smart. I thought I was being responsible. Extended warranty for peace of mind. New car for reliability. Vitamins for health. Timeshare for enjoyment. Life insurance for my family. It all sounded so reasonable. Then I met Carl. Carl lived 3 houses down, and I'd see him every morning walking his old golden retriever, Max. Carl drove a 2006 Honda Civic with 180,000 miles on it, dressed like he shopped at Walmart. House needed paint. You'd look at Carl and think, poor retiree barely getting by. You'd be wrong. Carl was worth $1.8 million. One morning in August, Carl sees me washing my brand new Corolla and comes over. "Nice car, Harold," he says. "What'd that set you back?" I tell him about the monthly payments, how I needed something reliable. Carl just nods and says, "Can I show you something?" He walks me over to his Civic, pops the hood. Engine's clean, everything looks good. "Bought this car in 2011 for $8,500, he tells me. "Put maybe $2,000 in repairs over 6 years. Your new car cost you $23,000. Mine cost me $10,500 total. That extra $12,500? I put it in dividend-paying stocks. It's worth about $19,000 now and throws off $600 a year." That got my attention. Over the next few weeks, Carl and I started talking more. Turns out Carl had his own rules about what to buy and what to avoid. And every single thing I'd purchased in my panic, Carl would never touch. "Harold," he told me one afternoon on his back porch, "poor people buy peace of mind. Rich people buy cash flow. Most people click away when someone tells them they're wrong about money. You didn't. Hit subscribe. Let me tell you exactly what Carl taught me about those 5 purchases and why wealthy retirees avoid them like the plague. First, extended warranties. Carl pulled out his phone and showed me an article from Consumer Reports. "Extended warranties have a profit margin of 60% for retailers," he read. "That means for every $100 you spend, $60 goes straight to the store's profit." He looked at me over his reading glasses. "Harold, if warranties were good deals for customers, would stores push them so hard?" The math was simple. That $24 I spent on the microwave warranty, the microwave would have to break 3 times before I'd break even. And if it did break that much, I'd bought the wrong microwave to begin with. Carl's rule: buy quality items, do your research, and self-insure. Take that warranty money and put it in a separate account. If something breaks, you've got the money. If it doesn't, you keep the money plus whatever it earned. Second, new cars. This one hurt because I'd already made the mistake. "Harold," Carl says, "a new car loses 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot. In the first year, it loses about 60% of its value. You paid $23,000 for something that's worth $14,000 right now." He was right. I looked it up on KBB that night. My 6-month-old Corolla was worth $13,800. Carl drove that 2006 Civic because he bought it when it was 4 years old with 67,000 miles for $8,500. Same car new would have cost him $18,500. He saved $10,000 by letting someone else take the depreciation hit. "Every wealthy retiree I know," Carl told me, "drives a reliable used car that's 3 to 5 years old. They buy Toyota, Honda, maybe a Buick. They maintain them well, and they invest the difference." Third, expensive vitamins. Carl laughed when I told him about my $110 a month supplement routine. "Harold, do you know what the vitamin industry is worth? $40 billion. You know what percentage of Americans are actually vitamin deficient? About 2%. And most of those are people with serious medical conditions or poor diets." He showed me a study from Johns Hopkins. Most multivitamins provide no health benefit for the average person. The expensive pharmaceutical-grade stuff I was buying, no better than the $12 bottle from Walmart. Carl's approach: eat real food. Get blood work done annually. If your doctor finds an actual deficiency, take that specific vitamin. Otherwise, save the money. "Harold, you're spending $1,320 a year on pills that make expensive urine. Put that money in an index fund for 10 years and you'll have $18,000. That'll buy you a lot more health than any supplement." Fourth, timeshares. Carl actually groaned when I mentioned Branson. "Harold, please tell me you didn't sign anything." I hadn't yet, but I was thinking about it. Carl made some calls and found 3 people who'd bought timeshares and regretted it. Every single one said the same thing. Maintenance fees that go up every year, booking restrictions, difficulty getting the weeks you want, and impossible to sell. Here's what that timeshare really costs, Carl explained. $8,000 down, plus about $800 a year in maintenance fees. Over 20 years, that's $24,000. For that same money, you could take a nice vacation every single year and stay wherever you want. He pulled up some numbers on his laptop. $1,200 a year gets you a week in Florida, Colorado, or anywhere else you want to go. No restrictions, no maintenance fees, no headaches. Carl's rule: rent your vacations, don't buy them. The flexibility alone is worth more than any timeshare. Fifth, expensive life insurance after 65. This one surprised me because it seems so responsible. Carl asked me a simple question. Harold, why do you need life insurance? I said, to cover final expenses and leave something for my kids. How much will your funeral cost? He asked. I didn't know. We looked it up. Average funeral in our area, $7,500. And do your kids need money? My kids are both established, have good jobs, own their homes. Carl pulled out a calculator. You're paying $247 a month for a $100,000 policy. That's $2,964 a year. In 10 years, you'll pay $29,640 in premiums. If you die in 10 years, your kids get $100,000 minus whatever you paid. So really $70,360. But Harold, what if you don't die in 10 years? What if you invest that $2,964 a year instead? We ran the numbers. $2,964 a year in a conservative portfolio earning 5% annually. After 10 years, $38,300. After 15 years, $63,400. After 20 years, $98,200. So Harold, Carl says, you can pay the insurance company and hope you die soon enough to break even. Or you can invest the money and guarantee your family gets it, whether you live or die. Somewhere in all these conversations, Carl mentioned something that changed everything. Someone had shown him something called the zero savings law. It says saving money after 65 is actually the fastest way to go broke. Sounds crazy, right? But when I tried what it suggested instead, everything changed in 90 days. It's all in the description. See, what I learned from Carl is that wealthy retirees think differently about money. They don't buy things to feel secure. They buy things that make them more money or save them money in the long run. Everything else is just stuff that keeps you poor. I started applying Carl's principles immediately. First, I returned the vitamins I hadn't opened yet, got back $89. Then I called the timeshare company and canceled during the cooling off period. Got my $8,000 deposit back. The life insurance was trickier because I'd already had it for 6 months, but I canceled it and redirected the $247 monthly payment. The car was a sunk cost, but I made peace with it and committed to driving it until the wheels fell off. The extended warranty on the microwave I was stuck with, but I made it my last one ever. Here's what happened next. Taking Carl's advice, I put that $8,000 from the timeshare cancellation into a dividend-focused portfolio. Added the $387 a month I was no longer spending on insurance and vitamins. In the first year, that portfolio generated $847 in dividends. Not much, but it was money making money while I slept. By the second year, the portfolio had grown to $13,200 and generated $1,180 in dividends. I was making more money from not buying those 5 things than some people make at part-time jobs. 3 years later, that money had grown to $22,400 and was throwing off $1,890 a year in dividends. And here's the beautiful part. It was growing every year without me adding another dime. My neighbor Carl introduced me to two other guys from his church who'd figured out similar strategies. Bill Matthews, a retired accountant who'd never made more than $55,000 a year, but retired with $900,000. And Frank Rodriguez, a former postal worker worth $1.2 million at 68. All three of them followed the same basic principle. They never bought anything that didn't either make them money or save them significant money over time. Bill put it this way: every purchase is an investment decision. You're either investing in your future wealth or investing in someone else's. That $247 a month I was spending on life insurance, Bill showed me how that same money, invested from age 65 to 85, would be worth $138,000. Harold, your kids get more money if you invest it yourself, and you get to control it while you're alive. Frank had his own way of looking at it. Rich people buy assets. Poor people buy liabilities. That new car you bought? Liability goes down in value every month. The used car I bought and the money I invested instead? Assets. They go up in value. All three of them had learned these lessons the hard way, just like I did. But they'd learned them earlier than me. Carl lost $15,000 on a timeshare in the 1990s before he figured it out. Bill wasted thousands on supplements and warranties before he did the math. Frank bought new cars until he was 50 and realized he'd thrown away a fortune in depreciation. The difference was they changed their behavior and stuck with it for decades. I was starting at 65, but the principles worked just as well. After everything I went through, I put the 7 laws in one guide, because nobody gave me a roadmap when I retired broke. If even one person reads it and avoids the mistakes I made, then the worst year of my life meant something. Check the description. Here's what I want you to understand. Those 5 things I mentioned, extended warranties, new cars, expensive vitamins, timeshares, and unnecessary life insurance, they're specifically marketed to retirees. The companies selling them know that retirees are scared about their health, their transportation, their security, their legacy. So they sell products that promise to address those fears. But fear-based buying keeps you poor, always. Wealthy retirees have learned to separate their emotions from their money decisions. They don't buy extended warranties because they're not afraid of their microwave breaking. They know that if it breaks, they'll either fix it cheaply or buy another one. And the money they didn't spend on warranties has been growing in investments. They don't buy new cars because they're not impressed by car payments. They buy reliable used cars and invest the difference. They're thinking about net worth, not image. They don't buy expensive vitamins because they're not trying to buy health in a bottle. They eat well, exercise, get regular checkups, and address actual medical issues with real medicine. They don't buy timeshares because they value flexibility over the illusion of guaranteed vacations. They'd rather have the money growing in investments and take trips when and where they want. And they don't buy expensive life insurance after 65 because they understand that life insurance is for replacing income, not creating wealth. If you don't have income to replace, you probably don't need expensive insurance. The math is simple, but it's not easy, because it requires you to think like an investor instead of thinking like a consumer. Consumers buy things that make them feel better. Investors buy things that make them more money. I'm not saying never buy anything. I'm saying be intentional about what you buy. Ask yourself, is this purchase making me wealthier or poorer? Is this solving a real problem or just addressing a fear? Am I buying this because I need it or because someone convinced me I need it? Carl taught me a simple test. Before any purchase over $100, wait 72 hours. If you still want it after 72 hours and you can explain how it makes you wealthier or significantly improves your life, then consider it. But if you just want it because you're scared or because someone pushed it on you, walk away. That 72-hour rule saved me from a $1,500 stair lift I almost bought after I had knee surgery. Saved me from an $800 emergency medical alert system. Saved me from a $2,300 whole house water filtration system. Each time after 72 hours, I realized I was buying out of fear, not need. The money I didn't spend on those things, it's been working for me instead, growing, compounding, making me wealthier every month. Today at 74, I don't worry about my microwave breaking because I've got money set aside for repairs. I don't worry about my car because I maintain it well and I've got money for a replacement when the time comes. I don't worry about my health because I eat well, exercise, and see my doctor regularly. I don't worry about vacations because I've got the money to go anywhere I want. And I don't worry about leaving money for my kids because I'm building real wealth that will outlast any insurance policy. That's the difference between buying security and building wealth. When you buy security, you're always worried about the next thing you need to protect against. When you build wealth, you stop being afraid because you have real resources to handle whatever comes up. One more thing. Write this in the comments. I invest in assets, not fears. If you said it, you're already thinking differently than 90% of retirees out there. 65 isn't the age to start spending down your wealth. It's the age to stop wasting it on things that don't matter. The wealthy retirees I know didn't get rich by being cheap. They got rich by being smart about what they bought and what they avoided. Every dollar you don't waste on unnecessary stuff is a dollar that can work for you. And trust me, at our age, we need our money working harder than we are.